You are listening to the Legends Lingo podcast, brought to you by CouchGuySports.com. With your host, Al.
Buddy, you were targeted 6 times, you caught 2 receptions, and did nothing else.
Powder.
Yes, sir.
And Fiesta.
He hasn't done jack. They've won one cup and they made a lot of playoff appearances. But he is a snake, oily snake. He's a crook.
Enjoy the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Legends Lingo podcast, episode 115, presented by, as always, Couch Guy Sports. Check out everything, CouchGuySports.com. You'll see articles, blogs, whatever you want to call them. Connor, I'm going to call it an article, okay? So get over it. No, but really, we're a blogging website. Check out all the blogs, all the podcasts on the network. Check out our Twitch channel. Go subscribe for free if you have Amazon Twitch. Free subscription. So go check that out for great content. Check out the YouTube channel where you'll find us, Couch Guy Sports Podcast, Suplex Biddy's Yellow Card Podcast, and a bunch of other random content. It's all good. I'm your host, Alan Nahigian. Alongside me, as always, is Tom Powder Cadmus, repping the brand. Powder, what's up, bud?
Nothing. Just I'm very excited to have baseball finally back. Opening weekend, maybe for the Red Sox wasn't that fun, but as an MLB fan, there was a lot of excitement for that first weekend. It was so much fun.
A lot of excitement for baseball being back, not on the Red Sox side because they just flat out stunk this weekend, but we're going to get into that in a few minutes. We do want to announce that we have obviously made our decision, and if you're watching the video, you'll see his beautiful face on there. We had 4 viable candidates. We have decided that Matt Desrosiers is going to be our permanent third co-host on the Legends Lingo podcast. Matty D, the floor is yours for a minute if you'd like to say a few words.
You know, Al, Tom, it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. You know, when we started kind of working together, a few months back, I thought I was just gonna be doing some fantasy baseball. That's kind of what my intention was. But getting an opportunity like this, how could you say no? You guys have a great show, and you guys have a great rapport. And I'm not trying to fill Fiesta's shoes because he was kind of a legend in his own right. So I'm just going to do me. I'm just going to take the Alex Verdugo route. I'm not here to replace anybody. I'm here to be me. I'm here to be Matty D and bring my own energy. So I'm really excited to be aboard. And let's start chopping up about sports, baby.
Talk about Alex Verdugo. First pitch was a flyout to Alex Verdugo for the Red Sox.
Hey!
All right, yay.
Positive notes.
Yes.
Martin Perez gets the first out. Perez Day. You got to love it. But Matty D, going to be a permanent part of the Legends Lingo family forever now, or until he basically says, I'm done with this, get me out of here. But we're happy to have Matty D as a part of it. First rule, Matty D, that's Powder to you. That Powder is the name that everybody has to know, except for Nick Quagg, calls him Chowder, which I'm still Quags.
My high school coach called me Chowder, which was very weird.
Is it who I think it is?
Coach Day, yeah.
Good old Roger Day, Danvers legend. But we're not talking high school baseball. We're talking pro baseball. So let's just get right into it. MLB opening day, opening weekend. It was fantastic, except if you're a Red Sox fan, because tier, not a great time. So the Boston Red Sox opened up their season with a 3-game series at home at Fenway against the Baltimore Orioles. They got swept. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They flat out just got swept. They got outplayed. Everything just didn't go their way. It stunk. I was there on Saturday. I will say it was great to be back at Fenway, but to see the result that just happened was just no bueno. It was just flat out awful. But, well, first, let's do this. Just overall reactions. I know they lost, but just initial reactions and takeaways from that first series. We'll start with Powder, then we'll go to Matty. Powder, initial thoughts on the Red Sox-Orioles series to open up the 2021 season.
Real quick, another big Martin Perez first strikeout of the year.
Yeah! Perez Day! So as we're recording Tuesday, April 6th, Martin Perez is making his first start of the season for the Red Sox. So here's cheering. That's why.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go.
So I just think it was just a collective. And I kind of agree with Section 10. Like, how many teams have a good start to the season when opening days rained out? Kind of you're all hyped up, and then kind of just it kills you, especially when you're starting at home. You just get all excited, but it's just a collective. No one hit, and I think that was the biggest thing. Was really what was JD Martinez, the only real guy who had a decent series. Besides that, no one else really hit. You saw, and you saw I forget who. Oh, Chris Cotillo. did a list of all the players and what they did in that first series, and you could see a lot of 0-fers, a lot of 1-fers. So I just think they just didn't hit. But as we saw on Monday, which we can probably get into after, the bats came alive, and you could see what the Red Sox truly can do when they hit.
Was nice. And listen, we have to be nice to Chris Cotillo. He's been a great friend of the program.
Yes, he has.
He actually, we actually text a little bit back and forth. He's a good dude. I like Chris Cotillo a lot. Matty D, your opening debut as a Legends Lingo podcast co-host.
What if I just drew, like, I went dead silent, like Papa Doc in 8 Mile. Powder's over. He's choking.
That would not be a good look, especially since we're actually on video now, which would kind of stink. But go ahead, Matty. All you.
Yeah, so I mean, we all played baseball growing up, and we all played baseball in the Northeast. So we all know how much it sucks to play baseball when it's 40 degrees out. And Al, you went to the game Saturday. You know, it warmed up in the afternoon a tad, but I tried going golfing that morning. It was miserable. It was the worst golfing.
Freezing.
It was awful. It was awful. And you know, out of the 3 games, obviously the weekend is a huge disappointment. You can't get around that, right? Like you were saying, getting swept by the Orioles is not what we had in mind as Red Sox fans. But out of the 3 games, when you watch them, only Sunday was really like disappointing because they got their asses kicked on Sunday. But the other 2 games, when you watch them, it was the Orioles got 1 or 2 breaks, and that was just enough to capitalize and win the game. You know, broken bat single on Saturday. That's what got Tanner Houck kind of, you know, out of the game and got a run across. And, you know, the offense has I'm not giving them any excuses. They didn't hit, but it wasn't like the Orioles came out and just kicked the crap out of them all 3 games. They kind of had a few things bounce their way, and they ended up with the sweep. So it is what it is. They came back Monday and showed what, you know, we all thought they would do. So that's a great sign. And really where this hurts the most, in my opinion, is just you don't want to drop 3 to the Orioles. When you're when you're projecting out your 162, that's now 3 games technically you would think they have to make up. And maybe one of them was Monday. We'll see.
We will see. So really quick, Martin Perez, scoreless first inning. That's what we like to see. Good job, Perez Day. But anyways, Matty, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's because when we look ahead at the schedule, whenever we see the Baltimore Orioles, that's a series that, like, okay, you should win at least 2 out of 4, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, whatever it is. You got to take care of those games. Those are games you need to win. And now you have to make up that ground. Like you said, big win against Tampa on Monday night. The defending American League champions coming in here. Nick Pivetta, which, by the way, we're going to talk about that situation in a second just with those couple pitchers. But the thing that I just want to ask you guys real quick, and this is just a quick question. After the performances you got from Nathan Eovaldi and Tanner Houck, when you saw that Garrett Richards was pitching on Sunday, was there any part of you in the back of your mind that was like, yeah, they're probably going to drop this one. It's going to be bad. Did you think that at all? Be honest.
A little bit, but I thought that Garrett Richards had some good in him, but obviously what he looked like on Sunday was just not what anybody thought he would look like.
Yeah. Matty, any just quick thoughts, just really quick on that?
You know, Garrett Richards had a rough spring, so I wasn't expecting him to look as good as Houck and Eovaldi right out the gate. But I was thinking maybe they'd win like a 7-5 game or something. So the fact that they just flat out got killed sucked.
Yeah, especially when you throw 2 innings and give up 6-7 runs. Like that's unacceptable in your first start. And the thing is, right? So now this leads us to our next conversation. So Eduardo Rodriguez, Alex Cora came out today and said that Rodriguez is going to be back for the Baltimore series in Baltimore. He's scheduled to pitch on Thursday. Tanner Houck is available in the bullpen on Tuesday night, which is tonight as we're recording. But it looks like Tanner Houck's going to be sent down to Worcester. To that, and I said this on Couch Guy Sports Podcast earlier with Jared Scally, why? Like, this guy, he is literally a righty Chris Sale. Like, the delivery, the overpowering slider, the great fastball velocity. Like, this is a guy that should be a part of your rotation for the next 10 years if you play your cards right. So the fact that you're going to option him down with Michael Chavis, who the 2 of them could be best friends and figure out why they're down there. But the fact that you have Tanner Houck going down when he can help you win right now, it boggles my mind, because when Rodriguez gets healthy, you're going to have Eovaldi, Rodriguez, and if you keep Houck, you have Tanner Houck.
For Christian Arroyo.
Hey,
double.
Good stuff. Then you have Nick Pivetta, Tanner Houck, and Martin Perez. That's not a bad rotation compared especially to 2020. So I don't know. I think it's the wrong decision, but I can understand it a little bit because Houck is still so young. He's only 24. But you only have Garrett Richards here for 1 year. Just have him be the guy that's a spot starter and have him go rot away in the bullpen. That's just my thoughts. Matty, I'm going to kick it to you and then go to Powder. Just thoughts on just Tanner Houck, Nick Pivetta, Garrett Richards, and that whole situation.
First of all, I'm happy to see Erod come back, because of everything he went through last year and everything.
Yeah.
It's just awesome to see him come back. Houck pitched well enough to stay in the big leagues. There's no question. It's just sometimes baseball has a little bit about, it's a little bit more about business than sport. And, Houck's got the options. Grant Richards is someone they invested $10 million in this year. So Bloom and company, they're not going to really want to prove that they're wrong early, one start in. So it's just like procedural thing more than anything. But he has definitely pitched good enough to be on this big league roster. And, just because he's sent down doesn't mean he's going to stay down.
Agreed. Powder?
Yeah, I think Matty hit right on the head. It's the business side of it with Houck having the option to send him down. But like he just said, he's going to be back at some point. He's 100% going to be back. Well, I hope it's not an injury, but if it's an injury or maybe, like we said, Garrett Richards just next 3 starts just does not get any better. He's the same guy for next 3 starts. They'll put him in the bullpen or do something with him and put Houck right back in. So
This is a situation where the Red Sox, they need the right pieces in place to be successful in 2021. You saw what happened last year in 2020. Ron Renneke leading a ship that basically was sinking before the season even started. This year, you got the right guy leading the ship. You have players in place that can actually, play the game of baseball. So now you need to be able, as Alex Verdugo strikes out, sheesh.
Yeah.
But play the
Patrice Bergeron on goal, 1-0 Bruins.
Hey, there we go. Good. Very good. Good. We need to talk more Bruins on this podcast, but we'll figure that out. Maybe when the playoff run starts. But back to baseball, because that's our forte. This Red Sox team needs a win in these next 2 games to be like, okay, the first series was really a fluke. They can play the game. They are a decent team because the stretch that you have afterwards, guys, I don't know if you guys have taken a peek down the line, but you have Baltimore in Baltimore. Then you have Minnesota, Chicago, and then I think you have like Toronto mixed in there too.
Toronto,
yeah,
yep.
So you're exactly right in that order.
It's amazing. That's going to be tough. The Twins are going to be competing for the Central. The White Sox, and we talked about it before, could be potential favorites to win the American League if everything goes right. The Blue Jays are a young and upcoming team that have a ton of young talent, and they're going to be probably the cream of the crop in the AL East in the next 3 to 5 years. So you have a tough schedule coming up, and you need to stay afloat because we don't want this season to be over by May.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Any final thoughts before we move on? Just anything Red Sox related or questions you guys might have.
I just think it's been super encouraging to see JD Martinez come out so hot out of the gate. He had his problems in 2020 with the replay in between at bats, and honestly, he was pretty candid and said that he thought there was going to be no season. So seeing him come out and just flat out rake is very encouraging. I do think that it's if you would have asked me a couple weeks ago, Al Powder, the Red Sox are going to start 1-3. Here's how it's going to happen. Either they rake and their pitching sucks, or their pitching's good and they can't hit. What would you rather take? I would rather take the pitching looking good and then being flat with the bats because I have all the confidence in the world with the offense. So to see the pitching look good is encouraging.
I agree. That's definitely something good to see is JD being part of the hottest hitter on the team right now. And if he can stay hot, obviously I don't think he's going to hit 533 for the whole season, but if he can be the hitter we know he can be, then I think the Red Sox are going to be able to be very good this year.
Well,
Agree.
put it this way. It can't get much worse than 2020 because that year was just flat out puke city.
Yep.
With a capital P and a capital Uke because it was disgusting to watch. But anyways, we are going to move on in a second. But before we get into that, we have a small announcement, I think is fair to say, Powder.
Yeah.
It's a mini announcement. So Manscaped, great products, great everything. No partnership this month. We'll see if we latch on with them into the future. We'll see what happens. They're a great company and great people, and hopefully we get back on with them in the next month. But for the month of April, we actually have a new sponsor.
Yes,
Cue
sir.
up that new sponsor sound. Pew, 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 pew. New sponsor, Powder. Take it away.
Yeah, this one, for those who know me, hits close to my heart, but probably better said, close to my stomach. As you may know, I love going to restaurants out to eat, and A&B Kitchen and Bar, located in Boston, just has reopened, and it's across the street on Causeway Street from the TD Garden. It's the newest spot to meet up before and after games at the Garden and to have dinner and drinks, offering an elevated take on traditional New England pub menu with freshly made in-house dishes like chicken pot pie, meatloaf, with organically raised beef from Naaman Ranch, local clams and sausage, or locally caught fish and chips. Draft beers from area breweries like Gentle Brewery in Beverly, Lord Hobo, and Notch pair perfectly as well. Looking for a patio dining, A&B Kitchen and Bar has a raised patio with spectacular view of either the Garden or the Zachem Bridge, with 32 feet of open garage doors along Causeway Street and 16 feet of doors along Beverly Street. You're able to sit inside, but have that outside feel to it too, if you're sitting right outside or right inside next to the garage doors. And also, they just added 9 newly installed 70-inch TVs, so there's no bad seat in the whole restaurant.
Ooh.
So if you're looking to grab some food around the Garden at some point, they're open Monday through Sunday at 3 p.m. And if there's a game on the weekend or weekdays, they open at 11 a.m. So again, that's A&B Kitchen and Bar located in Boston, right across the street from the TD Garden.
Is there anything for the fans incentivized in their, Powder, just to make us clear?
Not yet, but there will be. I'm working on that down the road. There will be something to incentivize a fan to go there.
Ooh, so A&B Burgers across the street from the Garden. Go check it out. Great food, great atmosphere. Shout out to A&B Burgers for being the newest sponsor of the Legends Lingo podcast. So shout out to A&B. And we're going to have actually another new sponsor coming in May. So be on the lookout for that. Matty D, you just come on here. You get sponsors up the wazoo, left and right. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's pretty cool. But hey, guys, I don't know if we had a second part of this podcast planned, but I gotta go and eat something because I am now hungry.
Go to A&B Burgers. They'll help you out.
Yeah, I'm on my way, A&B. Get a seat ready for you, boy.
All righty. So we do have a second part of the podcast. The second part is going to be football heavy because obviously we're going to come back to the Patriots because we're big Patriots fans too. So there was a big trade that went down in the NFL yesterday. Now, it does not involve the Patriots, but it does have an effect on the Patriots as far as the draft is concerned. The Carolina Panthers went out and traded a second-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and a sixth-round pick within the next 2 years. So I believe it was a 2021 sixth-rounder, then 2022 second and fourth-rounder to the New York Jets for quarterback Sam Darnold. Now, you might be thinking, why would they trade that for that idiot? Well, there's a few things that go on when you think about it. Number one, Matt Rule, the head coach of the Panthers, loves Sam Darnold. They've had a great connection. So it makes sense that Sam Darnold is now a Carolina Panther. But now, when you take a look at the draft, guys, there's only one team that you really have to worry about with the quarterbacks, and that's the Denver Broncos. So let's think about this for a second. This trade helps the Patriots in a big way because let's think about it this way. Jacksonville Jaguars are taking Trevor Lawrence. Number one, signed, sealed, delivered. Easy. The Jets at 2 are going to take Zach Wilson from BYU. They've been linked to him, plenty of reports about him. They love the kid. They're probably going to take Zach Wilson. The 49ers are 3. They like Mac Jones. So if they get Mac Jones at 3, I'm okay with that.
Arroyo, pass ball.
Hey, Red Sox are up 1-0 for the second night in a row. Wow. Look at this team. But we already did our Red Sox talk. We're talking Patriots. So now, right, after 3, the 4th pick is the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons came out today. Adam Schefter reported that the Falcons are openly looking to shop the pick. Guys, wouldn't this be the time to do it? I mean, think about it. Wouldn't this be the time for Bill Belichick to say, you know what? Take our 15th pick, take a couple second rounders and a third rounder. We'll throw you a bone for coming back on you 28-3. We'll give you your future because Matt Ryan's getting older. He's 36 years old. Give him the assets, trade up to 4, and then you have your pick between Trey Lance or Justin Fields. I don't know, guys. That's just me. I think it's very realistic at this point, and there's a few other options that I want to talk to you about. Just real quick, thoughts on the Panthers trade and how it affects the Patriots. Open floor.
Potter, you go first.
Yeah, I just definitely think it opens the door for the Patriots to make a move to move up and get a quarterback. And I think obviously now you know what the Jets were thinking. Obviously, you speculate for a long time. Are the Jets going to take quarterback? Or are they going to take another O lineman to really bolster their line? But now it's clear what they're going to do. They got rid of Sam Darnold, and I just think, like you just said, Al, it's going to hopefully open up the door for the Patriots to trade up and get the quarterback that they want. So,
Mr. D.
So first of all, I just want to clarify. The only reason why I called you Tom earlier is because I still looked at you as like my elder here. It's my first show as a co-host. Now that we're the three best friends that anyone could ever have, I can call you Powder. I feel comfortable. Yeah. So just to clarify, I just need to get that out of the way.
All good.
But no, I think if the Patriots are going to do it, now's the time. They're competing against one other team, and that team just drafted a quarterback in the 3rd round a couple years ago, so they may be a little gun shy. So if they're going to move up to 4, now you do it and grab one of the big 4 quarterbacks, unless that's not part of his game plan. We'll see. But there are other ramifications of the trade. First of all, now the Patriots will be playing a rookie quarterback 2 times this year, and Belichick is phenomenal against rookie quarterbacks, so that's great in terms of the
amen to that.
Right. And on top of that, now you have a trickle effect. You have the Niners looking for a long-term answer with Jimmy G in-house. Maybe they don't want to spend the money on Jimmy G. Maybe he gets freed up because they go after a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, who now theoretically could be freed up. So there's a lot of dominoes to fall. But the play I think that the Patriots could make, and I think that the one that will sturdy them up for the long term, is trading up to 4. If you have confidence in this team, and obviously they have a pretty good amount of confidence, right? Like they just paid a ton of players. So they must have confidence in the core. Grab a guy, move up so you can grab your guy. Theoretically, you're going to be a pretty good team. So next year's picks aren't going to be that sweet. You're thinking you're in the 20s, hopefully late 20s. But yeah, I think that's the move. But even if that's not the move, there are, like I said, some things that will either help or maybe hurt or something the Patriots. So even though this trade didn't affect the Patriots, it had a lot of ripple effects that the Patriots will get caught up in.
So I do agree, Matty. I think that the trading up for number 4, I think, is the move that you should make. I mean, the draft's a few weeks away. Go get that number 4 pick, do your homework, and choose the best possible quarterback. Plain and simple. Now, you mentioned Teddy Bridgewater. I think that Teddy Bridgewater can end up now that Sam Darnold's going to be the quarterback, because let's face it, you're not going to trade for Sam Darnold if you're not going to make him your starter. There's no way that they're going to compete in training camp. Darnold's going to be the quarterback. So now, Teddy Bridgewater signed with the Panthers in the offseason last offseason. Now he has the chance to look around and maybe try to facilitate a trade. There are 3 destinations I think he could realistically end up with. I think he could end up being in San Francisco, and I think San Francisco still drafts a quarterback, and he still can have the situation where you have the rookie and you have the veteran. So you have a different quarterback room. Now, with that being said, either San Francisco or I think New England could be another possibility. Because, again, you need another guy in there. Cam Newton's only going to be in here for a year. And the other team that I think is going to be on the radar, which you wouldn't expect, and I'll credit Diego Galvis, friend of the show, with this one, Houston Texans. The Texans need a quarterback because Deshaun Watson, I don't think, is going to be playing this year. Ooh. I think he's, with everything that's going on with him,
wow,
it would not surprise me if Teddy Bridgewater ended up in Houston as part of their rebuild. So I'll give Diego the full credit for that one. And I think that's a very good idea. So I don't know if you guys have any other takes on Teddy Bridgewater. Then I have one more little Patriots thing, and then we'll pretty much wrap up for the night. So Open floor.
Matty, you can go.
Yeah, that's super interesting. The point that Diego brings up, because if you remember, Nick Casario's down there in Houston, so he is an apple off the Bill Belichick tree. And what does Bill Belichick love? Value. Teddy Bridgewater is going to get $10 million regardless from Carolina. So if they can grab him and pay him basically vet minimum and he's still getting his money elsewhere, that's a move that Belichick would theoretically like, which means I think that's a move that Nick Caserio would welcome as well. So that's actually a very kind of interesting plot twist in this whole thing, because we could wake up tomorrow with a report coming from the NFL, a suspension, who knows, because that situation is getting real dark, real sticky, real quick. So if they're looking for a quarterback, they might get in the mix for Teddy Bridgewater,
as they should. I mean,
yeah, he's a pro.
He is, and the Texans have made a ton of moves to try to rebuild for the future. So if you're rebuilding, why not get a guy like Bridgewater that, like you said, Matty, is a pro? He knows how to handle being in the NFL. He can run that offense. He can be a guy that the Texans can build around for the next couple of years. And another thing too, and I just want to bring this up really quick because we have to talk about it. Let's say Teddy Bridgewater somehow ended up with the 49ers. Does that open the door once again for Mr. Garoppolo to end up back in New England?
Hopefully. That's something, obviously, we've talked about it a ton, but he's someone who, I've said it every time we talk about, that's someone who I'd want. If the Patriots don't get a rookie quarterback out of the draft, one of the big four, I think Garoppolo is a perfect choice to bring back. Like I've said every time, he's a field general. He's going to be great in this offense. He's going to get you to win games. He could bring you to a Super Bowl like he brought the 49ers to a Super Bowl just 2 years ago. So that's something who I'd like to see if that opportunity lends itself.
Yeah, Potter, I think you've nailed it right there, talking about Jimmy G. And just to add a little something, I think the real obstacle in the way of getting Jimmy G is him and his agent, Don Yee. It's going to be somehow figuring out a way to get him to come to New England where he's still making money, but not with the New England Patriots paying that contract. So what do the Patriots like to do? They like to wait and see where the dust settles and, grab who they can when the money's right. Jimmy G, Teddy Bridgewater, this whole thing, as the dust settles and everything shakes out, maybe it's that perfect storm where Jimmy G's demand in terms of dollars comes down enough where Bill Belichick's like, that's my guy, I'm going to bring him back, because the contract that Cam Newton did get it's not a lock that he's the starting quarterback with the money that they gave him. They kind of did right by him and paid him for last year's sacrifice. So they could let him go, or maybe he's convinced to be like, you know what, you're going to be our LeGarrette Blount, you're our goal line back and our locker room guy. But Jimmy G is going to be our field general, like you said, Powder.
I mean, and this is the thing I'll say about Cam Newton that Patriots fans, I think, fail to realize. If Cam Newton was going to be your short-term answer, they would have signed him to like a 3-4 year deal. They would have given him more years and said, all right, Cam, fine. You'll be our bridge quarterback. And then while you're our bridge quarterback, we're going to find the guy. He signed for a 1-year deal in 2020. He signed for another 1-year deal for 2021. If Patriots fans want to hoop and holler, like, great, do it until you're blue in the face. But guess what? The reality is, after 2021, he's probably going to be gone. And then guess what? The Patriots are going to be in the same exact situation in 2022. They're going to have to find another quarterback unless they draft a quarterback now or they make a trade for a veteran. And that's why, for me, I want Jimmy G here because he's 29. He could be your answer for the next, like I said, 3 years, 4 years. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Still draft a quarterback. If you had Jimmy and then you had Trey Lance or Justin Fields in your quarterback room for 2021, that's a victory. Yeah. Get Jarrett Stidham out of here. Love Stidham. I was on the Jarrett Stidham hype train. I still think he can be good, but I think he'll be a good backup quarterback wherever he goes. And credit to him because he's still trying. He's getting the Patriots together in California, running workouts. Like, I give Stidham credit. He's trying. Mm-hmm. So we can't knock him for that. But there's going to be a lot of fun things coming, especially with the NFL draft coming in a few weeks. Hopefully the Patriots make a move. We'll see what happens, but we'll go from there. Any other final takes or just anything you guys want to get out of your little hearts, your little heads before we head out for the week?
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. What do you say we do this again next week?
You know what, Matty? I think same time, same place.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Let's do it.
You know what, Powder? I think we're down for that. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool.
So, on a real note, Matty D, your first episode as Legends Lingo podcast co-host is in the books. You sweated it out, but you held your own. You were good. But this is the beginning of a new era in Legends Lingo podcast history. So we appreciate it, and we're glad you're going to be a part of the ride with us for the time being. Again,
All right.
appreciate you. CouchGuySports.com. Check out everything on the website. I said at the beginning, but again, check it out. Rate and subscribe to our podcast. We're on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, you name it, we're there. So please leave us a rate and a subscription. Shout out to our new sponsor, A&B Burgers. Please go in, grab a table, grab some food. Check out those 70-inch TVs. 70 inches, 9 70-inch TVs, Powder?
Yes.
That's insane.
I
That
know.
is insane. Once COVID is like sort of a thing of the past, the three of us should go down there, record an episode, and then just grab a bite to eat after. I think that would be awesome.
Sign me up.
Yep.
Absolutely. We'll
I'm
be
sure
there.
we can get there at some point by ourselves. I know the owner pretty well, so we can record an episode there.
I think that would be pretty cool. I think that
Yeah.
would be a good time. But if nothing else, for episode 115, that's Tom Powder Cadmus, our new co-host, Matty Desrosiers. I'm your host, Alan Nahegian. Thank you for listening to episode 115, and we will see you next week for episode 116.
Yes, sir.